Hello, my name's Campbell. Welcome to the second video in the Percussive Guitar Technique series. In this week's video we're going to have a quick recap over what we looked at last time, and we're also going to learn part of a song. To start off with, last week we had a couple of beats. We had the bass drum beat, which was in between the sound hole and the saddle just here, and you can also play that on the saddle just here, depending on how sharp your saddle is. Then you also have the bass drum beat down on the body just here, and you can also get that pretty much anywhere on the body just here. I tend not to play it up here because it's a bit unpractical. You have to lift your arm up a lot, so down here is just as good and it's a bit more comfortable. Snare drum beats, you can get one just here underneath the sound hole, kind of to the front of the guitar. And you can also get that the opposite side at the top just here. Depending on what you're playing, one is probably going to be more practical than the other. You could also get a snare drum beat or maybe a rim shot type beat just underneath the side of the guitar here, like so. Now you've probably been practicing those up along with the hi-hat closing type sound we had, which was generated by clicking the strings against the end fret or against the pickup, depending on what you have, like so. Now we're going to try and incorporate those into a song. It's one of my songs. It's called New Song 2006, and you can check that out on my MySpace site. I apologise about the name, it's not very good. To start off with, we're going to look at the chords that are in the song. It's basically an E major chord with a couple of variations added in. If you find the chord that we're about to play difficult, or on your guitar if it's awkward to play because you have 12 frets to the body, then you could just play an E major chord and it would pretty much get you most of the way there, and it would certainly allow you to practice some of the beats that we're doing without having to do a huge stretchy chord down here. So, if we're playing a standard E major chord up around the open fret, so you've got open, second, second, first, open, open. Hopefully everyone will know that already. And then what we're going to do is move that all the way up so that we're going to be playing open, 14, 14, 13, open, open. So that's going from the top, open, 14, 14, 13, open, open. Now because we've moved three of the notes that we were holding down up an octave, you get a slightly different sound, but it's still basically an E major chord at this point. What we're then going to do is move one of the notes up 2 frets. So we're going to hand open, 14, this note here is going to move up on the D string to 16, this note stays at 13 on the G, then we have open and open on the B and the E. So just one more time to recap, open, 14, 16, 13, open, open. Now all of these chords are going to be written in the description next to the video, so if you forget how that goes, you just take a glance over there and you'll instantly be able to see where your finger should be. Now that's going to be the first chord. It's kind of an E sus2 chord, but as well as having the second in there, we're also keeping the major third. Gives us a really happy chord, and we're going to incorporate that with some of the beats that we were looking at last time. So first of all, we have to do an explosive beat where we're going to actually flick our fingers out across the chord as we do a bass drum beat, somewhere around the area just here. You can do it on the saddle, but you tend to be quite close to the bridge piece just there, so you get a very brittle sound. I do it just on the body here, above the sound hole. Explosive beat, flick out your fingers in a sort of risquado type stroke, and then let everything keep ringing. Now when we play this, we're going to keep those notes ringing, so it's important not to bring your hand back down onto the strings to mute them afterwards. So you just keep them going, and then your hand's going to fall down across the body, missing all the strings, and we're going to start doing the beats down here. I'll play you through a section of the song so you can hear how it goes, and then I'll explain what's going on. So I start off with the explosive beat. I do 2 beats with my thumb on the top of the body just there, so that's just almost directly below the saddle. And I just use the side of my thumb for that. I've got a kind of double jointed thumb, so it bends back a bit. If you haven't, you're probably going to find you're getting more knuckle on it. But again, it's going to depend on your guitar as well, so you'd have to get a tone that you're happy with just by playing around. You might find a different area around there works better. So 2 beats, and we've just come down from up here, so we get your hands gradually moving down as you're doing that, and then you go for a snare shot underneath the side of the guitar. So you get one more hit back here with your thumb, then 2 thumps for a bass drum, like that. So all of that section again. After you've done that, you're going to roll up onto your thumb, and you're going to flick your fingers out like that. Now the reason we roll up onto the thumb there is to position your fingers the correct distance away from the body of the guitar. If you don't do that, then you're probably going to get your hand too far away and miss, or you're going to get your hand too close and not be able to flick your fingers out comfortably. So the thumb acts as a kind of gauge, and that's always going to be constant, so you know that you're going to get a good hit if you put your thumb there, like so. The little finger probably won't hit because it's considerably shorter than the other fingers, and I just accept that and make sure that I'm working into a song that I'm going to get 3 beats there rather than 4 beats. You occasionally get it, but not always. So thumb down, flick your fingers out, and then after you've done that, your finger's going to be heading towards the side of the guitar again, so you're kind of moving when you're doing that, keeping the thumb there as a gauge, and then going for a snare hit afterwards. So that's a beat you might want to try just by itself. Bring your hand across after you've done 2 bass drums, up onto your thumb, flicking out, and then snare drum underneath the side of the guitar. So that whole section, one more time slowly. And to finish it off, we're just going to add 2 more beats in with the thumb as we're coming back up to do the next hit. So all of that section. And then you just loop it around at that point, or you can move on to the next chord. Now the next chord is basically the same, it's in the same position almost, and you've got open, 14, 13 this time, 16, open, open. Basically what's happened is you've swapped around the 2 fingers that were on the D and the G strings. So the G string was at 13 and the D string was at 16. Now the D string is at 13 and the G string is at 16. And you do exactly the same beats over that chord as you did before. So to put 2 of those chords together, and you just loop that around. Now the next section of the song takes you right back down to the open strings down here, and you've got a different chord, you've got an A sus2 going on there. We're going to leave that for next time so that you can just practice moving through those various beats. Now there's one more thing that we're going to look at, and that's the immediate transition from this section into the section further down the neck. Now in this section we're coming away from the beats here, and we're going to start doing the beats around this area of the guitar just here. We keep the same chords, so we're going to be holding down open, 14, 16, 13, open, open. So one more time in slow motion. Risquado, upstroke with the thumb, slapping down with your first finger onto the snare drum just there, harmonic at the 19th, hi-hat onto the strings, and that's with the kind of heel of your palm just there, bass drum, and then you're back to the beginning. So to play through the whole of that section, first part down here, and then moving into that, we'll get this. For next week, practice through all of those beats. You're probably going to have to separate some of them out by themselves, so just go through slowly, re-watch the video, watch me play the beat, and then just mimic it, get your hands used to the movements you've got to do, and gradually speed it up. You should be playing all this fairly slowly, because when I first started doing this stuff, I would try and play really quick, and I'd tend to catch my fingers on different parts of the guitar, so I'd hit my kind of inside of the knuckles on the side of the guitar, and that really hurts, and then I'd hit kind of just the nail bed just there onto the I don't know, like the inside of the sound hole, or I'd catch it too much on the strings when I was doing the risquados, trying to get down for the snare. So you've really got to be careful. Practice them slowly. Make sure your hands know exactly where they're going, especially for the harmonic and for the snare drum just there. It's a very precise movement, and you've got to make sure that you really get it down, otherwise the harmonic just won't ring. Practice through all of those. I'll see you next time.